This is Boxing Tickets NA in association with that prize guy. I'm delighted to be joined on Zoom. Once again, it's fight week in Belfast. Delighted to be joined with one half of the co-promotion, Padraig McCrory from Hammer Boxing. Padraig, big week. Obviously this week, probably the biggest card is the biggest card you've been involved with promotional wise so far.
Yeah, listen, it's our third show that I'm involved in. My first one I done alone, and then the last two I done along with Conlan Boxing. The first two were just about finding our feet and kind of seeing how the card all works. And yes, just seeing how it works. And now we've got a good main event on this show with a big enough card with 9 fights, and they're all like fairly evenly matched.
It's an apparent name obviously for the card as well. There's been quite a lot of domestic fights this year, but bragging rights, it is bragging rights. I'd said to Theo last week. Obviously you've seen the interview and you've seen him sort of going off on one, obviously about the people thinking it's a 50-50, but both him and Lee are coming into this fight off the first stoppage as the pro. So it's probably in some ways, I know that this was potentially penciled in for Windsor Park and stuff like
Yeah,
that, but it's worked out very good in its favour. The fact that Lee was able to get another fight, get his first stoppage, Theo had a stoppage last time out. You probably couldn't have asked for a better billing to put the two of them together.
yeah. Listen, it was. I tried to make it. I, I tried to get Theo on the first Crocker Donovan card. Unfortunately, it fell through, and then we tried to make that fight for the winter card. And from what I gather, it was close, but just there was a lot of fights to get made on that. And obviously Matchroom don't have massive cards. So it's fell on this. Listen, it was due to be on a bigger card, as you know. We were hoping to get an event big enough to host at the SSE, which I was going to be part of in a fighting capacity as well. But it they come off, and I thought that we still need to make this fight. I think it's a great wee fight. Both of them are now at the stage of their careers where they want to kick on. They want to win a title, and now progress in their careers. So we looked at venues. We tried to look at a few different places. Obviously, we're very limited in venues in Belfast. My last two shows have been at the Devenish, and you can get a good number of people in there for its size. And we had to get the fight made, and we went with it. And if I'm honest, it's now turned out to be what looks like a good card. We've got a bit of TV coverage involved as well, which is also great for the fighters to get a bit of exposure. So no, I'm looking forward to it.
Recapping back, obviously 2019 was it? Sorry, 2019 you fought for your first title. Obviously you fought for the Celtic title against Steve Collins Jr. in the field. Was that
Mm-hmm.
2019?
2018, first, yeah, 2018.
That was obviously your
Yeah.
first build, and at that sort of stage, like you were sort of you didn't have your expectations high. When you recap sort of back, like that was your first title fight just past 6 years ago. You now have your first fighter having their first title fight. Do you feel like an old man now?
I am already. I'm now 37. Although I still look after myself. I'm still training. I'm playing a bit of football. We actually got our first win in 2 years recently. Just the weekend. So I look after myself. But yes, going back to 2019, my first title against Steve Collins Jr., which in fairness was a tough enough fight for a BUI Celtic title. He was probably 18 fights deep, 15 and probably two or something like that. Yeah. And now it's now went full circle, and I'm now involved in promoting a show with a BUI Celtic title fight with one of my managed fighters in Tyrone, who, in fairness, he's only pro a year, and he's taken to it extremely well. His last fight against Kane Singh, um, Kane Singh is a tough night's work for anybody, and he came through it. He came through it. He got it tough in there at times, but he was winning every round, and then he got a murder at the end of the fifth.
Yeah, and obviously we've seen Kane Singh obviously since, unfortunately. took obviously Donagh Keary's obviously unbeaten record at Windsor Park, but that shows like Theo has obviously said himself last week. He's been matched very very well. And probably your credit to that. He's been matched very well from the start. He's had really really good fights and they've progressed him in different ways. Like now was the right step for him to move in the Celtic title.
Yeah, listen, I probably would have liked them like managed them a bit earlier, a bit softer, but just at super featherweight sometimes it's difficult. And then Mark had him on a good like on his show at the Ulster Hall, and he was in a bit of a tough enough night as well against Engel Gomez. Is that who it was against? Maybe I don't
I'll
know.
have to double check because my mind's not
Anyway,
too good on a Monday.
he's been matched tough.
Brian
Um,
Morena.
Bram Morena, yeah, I've seen Morena a few times, and a tough man. Isn't He's been matched hard early, but at his age, I think it's going to benefit him in the future because we're now at the stage where we're going to win the BUI Celtic title, and we got to push on from there. Theo, he is a very likable guy, and it shows in the amount of support that he gets coming from Dungannon and Cookstown to come to Belfast. He told me it's not just there; it's the whole of the mighty Armagh, Tyrone v Armagh. Or sorry, Tyrone. I got that wrong. He's from Tyrone,
Yeah.
and Lee Gormley's from Yorkshire County. So it's gearing up to be a big night. And Theo, it's like for me, it's Theo's night, and it's his time to shine.
Domestic fights obviously are a massive part, and you've been involved in domestic fights and stuff as well. Like it
Mm.
seems to be, hopefully moving forward, quite a lot of the cards will have a domestic fight of some sort, whether it's for a Celtic title, whether it's for an Irish title, because that's how people could progress to the next level. You can only go so far fighting fighters that's on the road before you either think you're Floyd Mayweather, you're unbeatable, and then you come up against a tough test. You have to have these domestic fights to push on to the next level.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of the domestic fights. And 50-50s. Sometimes I think it's a bit like overhyped because I think a domestic fight they can be somebody from like the UK also, but there's nothing better than two lads from the same country getting it on and fighting like for honours and these can be stepping stones on like in their career on the bigger and better things. I think after this, with there not being much super feathers, we gotta now see what's next for Theo. If he goes and wins the BI league title in an 8 round fight, he's then eligible like for much more. So we now need we'll have to sit down after this and see what's next. But domestic fights can like progress your career much faster than like continuing the road warriors of the game.
Your testament obviously to that. Obviously, you won a Celtic title, and obviously, look, you're almost in the verge of a world title. So that goes to show you that being guided probably in the right way as well. But just you're passing on probably what Jamie done with you, and obviously matching you well. You're doing the same now with Theo, and you never know where Theo could end up out of this. He could look back a couple of years and go, "I'm headlining big cards on the zone on matchroom cards around the world."
Yeah, listen, timing's everything. I think if I go back to when I was 9-0, I accepted a fight against David Lemieux in Canada, and looking back on it, it was probably too early. And I probably wouldn't have got the opportunities that I ended up getting. So timing's everything. And from my experience, I can now pass that on to my fighters, and try and guide them as like in the right way. So yeah, me and Theo was quite similar in age, not in size because I'm quite big at the minute. But no, I think if he's managed right and correctly, and timing, and everything falls right for him, he can do things in the sport. Who knows where it can go? That's going to be up. It's in the hands of God, like really. Like, but if the right opportunities come, I feel Theo can take them.
Obviously on Lee Gormley, Theo sort of said, compared to his opponents, the Lee's opponents are they're miles sort of in difference. Like, how do you sort of I know you're going to have your Teal's manager, so you're going to be wanting Teal to win. But how do you sort of envisage the fight, Paddy, looking in sort of at it? Like, I guess people are going to look at the records and who they fought either side. Lee's got the fight, but it's a domestic fight. It's like a Manchester derby. Form sometimes goes out the window, and it's who wants it more.
Yeah, listen, his confidence is going to be really high. He's coming off his first stoppage win. He's 7-1, and from what I see on social media, I follow him. I've actually followed him for like a while now, and I've been in his gym sparring as well. And from what I gather, he's an extremely hard worker. He seems to be improving, and I think he has learned from his own defeat. So I'm expecting a tough test for Theo. I'm expecting a good fight. Do I expect him to win? Of course I do. But Lee Gormley's coming here to spoil the night for everybody. He's bringing 70 people like along with him. He sold decent tickets, so it's going to be a really exciting night. And from what I gather, the confidence are high. And for me, Theo's my guy, but just make best man win, really.
Yeah, obviously form goes out, well, not even form, sort of experience is what we're seeing. Obviously, Fabio Wardley against Joe Parker, obviously 2 weekends ago, experience counts for nothing in this game. And I know Lee doesn't have a big deal of amateur experience compared to Theo, but that experience of amateur boxing, white collar boxing, whatever, doesn't matter now. It's how hard you work in the pro game. And probably that's why Lee's maybe a bit quieter in terms of Theo. Theo's outspoken saying, I'm going to go for you in the first bell. You never sort of had this before. He's trying to play a mind game as such to try and make Lee have a bit of fear coming in.
I don't know. I just think he was speaking in the heart, to be honest, and that's what he believes. As we've seen, like with Wardley and a few others now coming through, you don't need that big amateur background. I think in the long run, like the best of the best do come from that sort of background, from a really sort of strong amateur background. But it's not necessary. Lee Gormley didn't have that. Theo was a late starter of the amateurs as well, but he progressed well and he fought they got a really good standard. So yeah, I think we can bill it as a 50-50. My favourite goes towards Theo Allen, but as I say, Gormley's really confident, and he's coming to cause the upset.
Did it surprise you in some ways that Theo was a bit, because everybody knows Theo's a nice guy, obviously smiling, happy-go-lucky. Did it surprise you when you sort of watched the interview, when you're sort of seeing him sort of kick off a wee bit, when he's probably, and you're testament to this, Paddy, like when you fought Steve Collins Jr., you give him a compliment and he took it the wrong way. Obviously remember you said, obviously, people are thinking he's coming from his dad's shadows and he's his own man, and he took it the wrong way from you. But
yeah,
Theo coming out with the way he's coming out with words is showing his passion, but he's also annoyed at the fact that people are labeling this a 50-50 fight. And you're throwing a wee jab. I'm there saying on paper it looks 50-50. Theo will be watching this, punching the screen, going mad, calling you all sorts. But Theo wants that because it drives him on.
Yeah, of course. Listen, I'm promoting the fight also, so like I kind of not have to say it's 50-50, but on paper, they're at extremely similar like levels and positions like in their career. But if you look at who they've matched with and who they've fought, then I think definitely you got to lean towards Theo. But I think Lee's been pro a bit longer than Theo, and probably has had more rounds, so that counts as well. So for me, like it's hard not to say that it's not a 50-50 on paper.
Yeah, exactly, because it can go either way, obviously, on the night.
Yeah.
Obviously, I guess Theo would be the first champion in the stable as well. Like, how much would that mean to you, Paddy? Because we obviously seen Conlan obviously picking up his first bit of silverware as a manager with Kevin Cronin. Like, how much would this be like? Would the Theo be like a son? Like obviously when you go and watch Faker playing football, like will it be hard? And we've seen you having your moments in the ring, obviously in Germany, you're jumping up in the ropes, doing the machine gun. Like we'll have security have to keep an eye on you on Saturday night to make sure that you don't go too mad.
No, 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 no. Listen, it's going to be a good night for us. Thinking hammer boxing as well, but I see this as just a stepping stone on the bigger and better. Um, but like I'm already speaking with Jamie to see what's next. We have a few ideas for next year as well. But it's going to be a nice moment if we get our first champion in the stable. And no better man to do it than he will.
You'd sort of touched there. Obviously, the card's going to be streamed worldwide on Thriller. Obviously, Thriller TV have sort of come from nowhere. Obviously, I know they used to be called Fight TV, and they used to run. Obviously, done the field and stuff like that before. But I think there's nearly 8 million subscribers on Thriller TV. So it's obviously massive and showing the footprint of what Irish boxing's all about. They were in Letterkenny. They're obviously doing the show on Saturday. They're in Cork at the end of the month. Like Thriller / Fight TV are really bringing the best of Irish boxing worldwide now.
Yeah. That doesn't like that's all down to Jamie. To be honest, he's the one that has all the contacts for our show to be streamed on Thriller TV. I actually thought I think I may have invented a Fight TV show for a Steve Widow probably. But yes, mate, it's brilliant to see sort of what's classed as small hall boxing getting the chance to be shown on TV or a streaming service, which is now like the new sort of Channel 5, like just like everything's streamed nowadays. But it's great for all the lads involved, like the lads and the ladies involved in the card, to have the opportunity for people that can't make it, for Lee Gormley's courage from Manchester, where he now lives, who can't make it to tune in, for Theo's family in East Timor that can't make it here, the tune in, and that's now available. So I'm actually like over the moon that we're able to get that done. I think it's the first show in the Devenish, pro show in Devenish that's going to be streamed also.
Theo's not your only fighter, obviously, on the card. You've 33% of my mass is 33 and a third, as I say. You've obviously Bernardo, obviously in action, and you've also Lex Weston back out again. So you have a good sort of say in the card. I guess if you're co-promoting a card and you can't get your fighters onto the card, there's probably something wrong.
Listen, these guys are on the card because they're good fighters and they're selling good tickets. I have a bit of a hand in it, but they're selling themselves. Big Lex, you seen the last time he brought the whole donagh with him, and he's doing the same again. He has a great crowd coming. He's in a 4-round fight. He's fighting the guy that was meant to fight Owen O'Neill and Joe Hardy. It's just another step. Like for Lex, I think after this we now move into 6 rounds. And then you have Bernardo taking a step up against the guy who's 10-9, a good experienced journeyman, and a 6-rounder. Conrad, Cummings, and Bernardo are very confident in what he can do. And if you've seen his last 2 performances, he's shown that there's something there, and he has ability to move through the levels very fast. So after this fight, we'll be looking to step up again. Let's see what's available for Bernardo, but I'm looking forward to a step up for him. I'm looking forward to Lex Weston's second fight. A big crowd coming from both. Like Bernardo's done great tickets this time with the help of his stepdad. And then Big Lex, as always, as I say, donagh arriving. They're coming in the busloads and they'll be heading back to Gracie Neal's.
Yeah, he's definitely got good support there. Obviously one of your stablemates, Lee Reeves, obviously is on the card. Obviously a late addition to the card. There's another couple of late additions. Rhys Owens made his debut a couple of weeks ago, and probably the most standout-ish 19-time Irish champion Christina Desmond fighting. I seen her making her debut on Jay Burns' show, and I thought she was incredible. She wants to move fast in the pro game. Is that the thing we're hearing a lot from fighters now? I guess when you somebody like Christina Desmond's talents there, you don't want to be sitting about fighting four rounders. You want to get the 6 and 8 and get the world level 10 round fight as quickly as you can.
Yeah, listen, she's a great talent. So when I heard that she's going to be on the card, I was I was very happy with that because, as you say, she's 13-time Irish champion. A
19
great,
time.
great talent. 19-time.
19-time Irish
Well,
champion.
well, sorry, I don't earn a few. I'm trying to steal them because I never won an Irish title. But no, it's great. And then Lee Reeves, a stablemate of mine. It's great to have him back in Ireland fighting. It's going to be just like a run out for him. He's now looking towards getting some big fights. Um, and then listen, the cards it's shaped up well. Rhys Owens, there's a lot of hype about Rhys. From Enniskillen, he brings a great crowd. Also, he done really well in Letterkenny recently. Sold a lot of tickets. It's a quick turnaround for him, but his people have got behind him again. There's more bus loads coming in. There's some amount of buses coming into Devenish on Saturday night. But yeah, listen, it's shaping up to be a great night. Some great talent on the card. Donagh, Keary, Gary, Big Lex, Bernardo, Kelsey, Leonard, who we haven't actually spoke about yet. She's going to be a co-main event. She's in a tough fight against Beta Beta Dudek.
You're
Right?
exactly right
Beta
there.
Dudek, yeah. Who is probably the Hungarian champion, current champion, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, she
I
won
think
the long Hungarian super bantamweight title last time out.
yeah, and I think if you watch a few clips of her, she can fight a bit, but it's testament to Kelsey in her third fight. They're investing in her. Niall and Gary, the lads had the choice of going for a much cheaper fight, and they've chose this. They have took a much tougher fight, a much more expensive fight, but they believe in her. I've seen clips of her, and she looks very good. Niall's doing a great job down in that Unit 3, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Down in that gym, and he has some great talent coming through. So, it's the two girls in the card could steal the show because they're very very talented. But I'm looking forward to Donagh Keary getting back to winning ways, getting back in the ring. He's very young. He's up against an old dog and Kane Singh at Windsor Park, and he's gonna learn from that fight. Ryan Burnett ranting raves about like Donagh Keary, and he's an undisputed or not undisputed. He is a unified world champion, so he knows talent. And when he says that Donnagh's very good, I believe him, and I believe he'll bounce back. And that loss could be a blessing in disguise.
Like I spoke to Donald obviously the next morning, obviously after the fight, and obviously he was asking thoughts and things, and I seen him yesterday, obviously at Mark and Lob show, but like he's still in his debut year. He only made his debut in
Mm-hmm.
MSG in March, so like his first year is all the development. Like it's you know, I guess it probably shows he's been matched well. The fact that Kane Singh wasn't just there to lie down, he wasn't just coming to Windsor just for a free ticket and a payday. Like he came to fight, and that's what you get when you take a step up. It's crossing that, it's finding the right balance sometimes, but particularly because it's only his debut year, what a perfect way
Yeah,
to bounce back. You'd probably sometimes relegate the defeat early on, like, and probably, to use you an example, Paul, when it comes a lot later on, it's a lot harder to take.
yeah. Listen, he's a young man, and a defeat so early in his career, he could have like folded and walked away from the sport, or took much longer away from it, and been in no risk to take it back. But he's straight back at it. He's shown that this is what he wants to do, um, and I think in the long run, that fight's going to be a massive experience for him. When I seen the fight get made, I thought, well, that's a tasty fight for so early, but and especially it was down a weight. But yeah, he's going to learn loads from that, and I look forward to seeing him back in the ring. He's a real nice kid. He actually came and bought tickets off me for like my previous fights, and that's how I actually got to know him. So it's great that he's on the card. But as I said, from top to bottom, I'm happy with the card. Obviously, we would have loved another sort of 50-50 in there, like a real 50-50. But as I say, Kelsey has took on a decent test. So fair play to her and her team. And then Bernardo in a like a wee step up. I'm looking forward to that. So I think it's going to be a great night. Um, and they're all getting a chance to fight on Thriller TV.
Yeah, it's massive. I'm just looking there. Obviously, I can see we have 9 minutes left. It'd be rude, obviously, not to speak of Windsor Park and obviously Lewis Crocker becoming world champion.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
remember the picture we've shared I've shared quite a few times in Conway Mill. Obviously, two people you've been in gyms with now are now world champions. Like, does that?
Mm.
I know, Paddy, and I hope you won't mind me saying you're into your twilight years sort of in the sport, and there's not long left. But what does it win like for Lewis, where you've been there and you've been in training camps with, and I'm seeing him going through, the tough times where he's had injuries and not being able to fight. What does that do for you at this stage of your career, seeing Lewis becoming world champion? Like, is that have you a dream of going? And we know we had you and Dennis and Anto becoming the IBO champions a few years ago, and it was saying that people over 30 that there was still life in an old dog. What does that do to you?
Do you know what? It just makes me really happy. It's seeing the like the magnitude of the event that Lewis was able to bring back, like the Belfast. It just made me happy. Listen, of course, like we all have dreams, and like I have my dreams, and I have my dreams of becoming like champion of the world. But and some people like will argue that I was, but that's I think that argument's for a different day. But seeing Lewis become world champion at Windsor Park after watching him fight in a 6 round fight in the Legend Rain against Willie Warburton on the card from the undercard.
I'm surprised you can remember that because you were drunk that night.
Yeah, no, I wasn't nobody, I wasn't nobody drunk, but I was more drunk the other night. But watching him go from there, taking risks, and then obviously he had a wee bit of a time away, and he ended up fighting back on the small hall scene, for a couple of fights. But listen, Lewis's talent has always been there to get him to the very top, and now he's there. Now he's IBF world champion, and the world's at his feet. Um, I just hope that the people in Belfast can they get behind him, which you've seen seems to be happening. And he continues to bring big nights back to here, but he may need to go somewhere else to get the money that he deserves. A great talent, and he's a great kid.
Like, you were close to fighting Canelo, obviously. If you'd have beat Berlanga, you would have had that Canelo fight. Like, it's been talked and rumored about, Lewis potentially fighting Manny Pacquiao. Like, who would have thought two young lads from Belfast, with a dream of fighting, could even be in the same sentence of all time greats in the sport?
Listen, I can remember me, Lewis, and Anto. Ray Ginley came and got us and took us a run, and me, so Anto, there was I don't know why he's just always fit, and he's away run on. And me and Lewis is at the back climbing up the mountain, sweating ice out of us, lungs like ready to burst, and just I was a bit older obviously, and I'm thinking, what's this all about? And then I look around and I see them guys, and it's it's memories like that make me so happy that Lewis and Anto has been on to like achieve what they have. Um, and as you say, are in conversations with greats to the sport, and I got close, um, and still very proud of what I achieved. But um, we might still have something. I don't know, but let's see. But these guys, they're great guys, and it's great to see them. Um, get mentioned next to the Pacquiaos of the world, and also themselves achieve greatness.
I'm going to throw one out here before we finish. Queensbury are coming to Dublin in the Three Arena in March. Well, obviously they just had their big light heavyweights at the weekend there. Obviously, Lane Carmen, obviously Boatsi, and things like that. Like you're sort of looking at that card on Saturday night, and you're going, you know that Queensbury are coming to the Three Arena in Dublin. You're surely in for a shout, Paddy. For you don't need to have to sort of go looking for fights. You're going to look to make fights with Irish fighters. So, like, if you had your pick out of any of the Queensbury stable, you could fight in the Three Arena card. Who would it be?
You big wooden spoon out. I don't know. You know what? Dublin. I would love to fight in Dublin. Liam Cameron. I would love that fight. He had a great win of the weekend. Probably slightly controversial, but I just love his story and I love him and I love listening to him. He had Ken Perry, his name he's saying. I seen one today, and his car is very similar to mine. It's an old lorry which I still have, and he's like, "Why sell it?" I just love his personality, and I think he's a good fighter, and I think he was unlucky in the Ben Whittaker first fight. So I think if they were coming to here and that was potentially there was a potential like if that fight they get made, I'd be very interested in it.
There we go. It's not very often, Paddy, will get you and you'll talk of having a fight. So
No,
I,
I'm not. Nah, listen, I'm not calling the one out, but you asked the question.
I'm just stirring the spoon like it does with done with Theo last week. Theo told me he was fighting in the mirror afterwards, after the interview. Finally, obviously, is there many tickets left for Saturday night? Like, what
Do you know
per
what? It's sold really well. The lads have done really well with their tickets. Now depending on what comes back on Friday, there may be a few on the door, but it's extremely limited. I think the seating is virtually gone. There's some standing. I'm sure there is, but yeah, there's potential of reaching out to the fighters, or if you're too late for that, I'm sure you can pay at the door.
and obviously, the good thing about Thriller is as well, if somebody hasn't purchased Thriller before, we're not obviously trying to missell Thriller in any way, but it is available in a 7-day free trial. So if somebody hasn't downloaded Thriller before, they can, if they can't get to the card, they can watch it for free online as well.
Yes, there you are. And big shout out to that praise guy, Paul, who backs yourself and backs myself and our shows and React Action Management, who come on board as well. So yeah.
If only we could turn this sponsorship into big wins now. Like there's been so many big prizes.
I keep entering and I'm like, if I ever win, is it going to be like a conflict of interest? I don't know.
Yeah, you have to keep it quiet. They take a picture of you, but you get a potato on your head, so people don't know who you are.
They probably know best, Pally.
I don't think I'd be too far behind you. But Paddy, thanks as always for your time. Obviously, we're in a couple of days out from fight night. I'll no doubt see you on Friday at the weigh-in.
Yeah, good man, Morty. Cheers.
And I'll catch up with you then.
Cheers. Yes.
All right.
Thanks for the call, mate. Take it easy.
Cheers, Paddy. Take care. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.